A global financial system based on the petrodollar was one of the mainstays of the past 40 years and an anchor supporting the dollar's reserve status. In this world, oil producers would sell their products to the US and the rest of the world for dollars, recycle the proceeds in dollar-denominated assets, and explicitly support the USD as the world reserve currency by investing in dollar-denominated markets. According to recent reports, Saudi Arabia is actively negotiating prices for some of its oil supplies with Beijing. China and yuan, a move that could not only the petrodollar's dominance of the global petroleum market, something that Mark predicted in his last note, and another shift by the top crude exporter of the world toward Asia, but also a move aimed squarely at the heart of the U.S. financial system that has taken advantage of the dollar's reserve status by printing as many dollars as necessary to fund government spending for the past 10 years, according to the report The Tal. The negotiations with China over the yuan pricing to all contracts, according to the source, have been ongoing for 6 years but have picked up steam this year as the Saudis have grown more dissatisfied with long-standing U.S. security guarantees to safeguard the country. Saudi Arabia is upset that the U.S. has not supported its engagement in the Yemeni civil war and that the Biden administration is attempting to reach a nuclear deal with Iran. Saudi officials have said that the abrupt U.S. exit from Afghanistan last year startled them. More than 25% of Saudi Arabia's oil exports are purchased by China, and if those purchases were made in yuan, they would improve the value of the Chinese currency. Many investors agree that switching to a petro-yuan system, on the way to becoming a global petro-yuan reserve currency, would require Saudi Arabia to price even some of its roughly 6.2 million barrels of crude exports per day in a currency other than dollars. Around 80% of global oil sales are currently conducted in dollars, and the Saudis have only traded oil in dollars since 1974. It seems that the Saudis don't care much about American security guarantees anymore and are instead shifting their allegiance to China. As a reminder, back in March 2018, China introduced yuan price to all contracts. This deal with the Nixon administration included security guarantees for the kingdom. The USD continued to be the currency of choice for oil exporters, so efforts by China to make its currency tradable internationally haven't had much of an impact on the dollar's hegemony over the oil market. However, as has been noted recently for China, the use of dollars has become risky due to U.S. sanctions on Russia and Iran over their actions in the Ukraine and Iran's nuclear program. Today's momentous change is not particularly unexpected. In recent years, China has increased its efforts to court the Saudi Arabian kingdom by assisting Saudi Arabia in developing its own ballistic missiles, offering advice on a nuclear program, and funding the favorite projects of Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. A future news city. In the meantime, the Saudi relationship with the U.S. has deteriorated under President Biden, who said in his 2020 campaign that the kingdom should be a pariah for the killing of Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi in 2018. Prince Mohammed, who U.S. intelligence authorities say ordered Mr. Khashoggi's killing, refused to sit in on a call between Mr. Biden and the Saudi ruler King Salman last month. This also comes as the U.S. economic relationship. In contrast to China, whose oil imports have increased over the past 3 decades in line with its expanding economy, the United States is now among the top oil producers in the world, a stock reversal from the 1980s when it imported 2 million barrels of Saudi crude daily. However, those numbers will drop to less than 500,000 barrels per day in December 2021. According to data from China's General Administration of Customs, Saudi Arabia was China's top crude supplier in 2021, selling 1.76 million barrels per day, followed by Russia at 1.6 million barrels per day. The dynamics of the U.S. relationship with the Saudis have changed significantly, and China is now the largest crude importer in the world, and they are now offering many different types of crude. China has been providing the kingdom with every inducement under the sun, according to a Saudi person with knowledge of the negotiations. The official claimed that in hindsight, We now understand why Mohammed bin Salman wasn't returning Biden's calls. It goes without saying that the United States is not pleased with this historic change. According to a senior U.S. official, the Saudis had floated the notion of selling oil to China in the past when tensions between Washington and Riyadh were high. Of course, it is feasible that the Saudis may back off transferring millions of barrels of oil sales from dollars to yuan every year. The Saudi economy, which uses a currency, might be shaken. The dollar's parity with the rial doing more sales in yuan would more closely connect Saudi Arabia to China's currency, which hasn't attracted international investors because of the strict controls Beijing maintains on it. Prince Mohammed's advisors have been warning him of unpredictable economic damage if he moves forward with the plan hastily, or perhaps Saudi Arabia is merely preparing for the day when the peg will be broken to sever the last major linkage to the U.S. The Saudi government's budgetary outlook might potentially be harmed by contracting oil sales in a less stable currency. The effect on the Saudi economy would largely depend on the volume and price of oil sales. Of oil, some economists said shifting away from dollar-denominated oil sales would diversify the kingdom's revenue and may eventually cause it to repeg the rial to a basket of currencies similar to Kuwait's dinar. If it is done now, at a time of strong low prices, it would not be seen negatively. Instead, it would be seen as strengthening ties with China, according to Monica Malik, chief economist at Abu Dhabi Commercial Bank. However, the Saudis still intend to do the majority. If that block is removed from the wall will start to collapse, according to economist Gal Luft, co-director of the Washington-based Institute for the Analysis of Global Security and co-author of a book about de-dollarization. As a result, the pieces of the end game are starting to fall into place. As China, the silent partner, quietly picks up the financial pieces and takes advantage of the Western scramble to secure resources at all costs. Russia deprives the Western world of desperately needed resources, driving up commodity prices. China also approaches all those other non-Western former petrodollar clients who are also rich in other resources to offer them a new product. Beijing is currently actively and aggressively pushing the yuan to dethrone the dollar as the world's reserve currency. According to a Beijing-based international relations specialist who asked to remain anonymous, Chinese professionals provide their opinions on Saudi Arabia's interest in the BRICS. According to analysts, the U.S. is self-centered in its dealings with Saudi Arabia, and the idea of joining the BRICS shows Saudi Arabia's growing autonomy in its diplomacy with Washington. The expert further noted that joining the BRICS will also protect Saudi Arabia's own energy interests in a substantive way rather than just informally. The U.S. intended Saudi Arabia to listen to its directives and satisfy its demands, but the course of events clearly indicated that Washington had overplayed its hand. The oil for security framework between Saudi Arabia and the U.S. needs to be adjusted in light of the changing international situation, according to the Beijing-based expert, who claimed that if Saudi Arabia joins the BRICS it would be a promotion to the Middle East countries to strengthen their ties with BRICS countries and weaken the intervention and influence of the U.S. in the area. The Middle East has a clearly elevated position in the world, according to Li Xiaoxian, director of the China Institute for Arab Studies at Ningxia University, who spoke to the Global Times on Wednesday. However, the Saudis do not feel this way because Europe depends on the Middle East for energy, Russia pays attention to it, and China has strong links with it through the Belt and Road Initiative. What are your opinions on the petro-yuan being a thing? Let me know in the comments below. That concludes today's video, and I hope it has given you a better understanding of China and its prospective cooperation with Saudi Arabia. Don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe for more videos on investing. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. If you want to learn more about business investment and financial education, there are 2 more videos waiting on the screen for you to check out.